Well, to answer the first part of your question, the comment I made right at the end was I was just pointing out that we normally say, oh, he or she is beautiful, or the object is beautiful, or the piece of music is beautiful. In other words, we attribute beauty to the object. We think that beauty is a property of some objects and not others. And I was just pointing out that the experience of beauty is not a quality of an object. It is the actual experience of beauty is the collapse of the distinction between ourself and the object. Normally we think, I experience the object. I am the subject and we experience the object. This is our normal way of perceiving. I, the perceiver, and the perceived object. The experience of beauty is when the perceiver and the perceived collapse into each other. When they are no longer two. When that happens, that experience is what we call beauty. And the mind then attributes the beauty to the object that seemed to precipitate this collapse. So some man-made objects have this power to bring about this collapse of the distinction between the subject and the object, and those are called works of art. In fact, we should really call them sacred works of art, a particular category of art who has this magical power to bring about this collapse of the perceiver and the perceived. And that when we experience that, we call that experience beauty. It's not a property of the object, it's a property of reality. It's a property of consciousness. It's what happens when the subject and the object collapse and pure consciousness tastes itself as it is. When Cézanne said, I want my painting to give people a taste of nature's eternity. He wanted to give people a taste of pure consciousness. He was using perception. So he was trying to, in his paintings, trying to bring about this collapse of the distance between the perceiver and the perceived. It's why, for instance, there is no perspective in his painting. In traditional perspective, the eye, along the various lines of diagonal lines of perspective, the eye is taken towards the object, the focal point in the painting. And as the eye is drawn towards the focal point in the painting, the object, this subtly establishes yourself, the viewer, as the subject. So although the eye is being drawn towards the object, you as the subject are being emphasized. So Cézanne did away with that. He did away with perspective, so that the eye couldn't go outwards towards the object. The eye would dance around on the surface of the painting, not being able to penetrate it along the old lines of perspective. And in this moment, the mind would have nothing to, it wouldn't find the object to grasp, so that he was trying to bring about this sinking back of perception into the perceiver. He wanted our attention to go this way, back towards the source of attention, rather than this way into the picture plane, towards the focal point, the object. And he was explicit about this. He said, I want my paintings to give people a taste of nature's eternity. That is the experience of beauty. And he realized that the experience of the beauty is the collapse of this distinction between the subject and the object. Bach was trying to do exactly the same thing, except being a few hundred years earlier than Cézanne, he expressed it in less psychological language. He expressed it in religious language. Everything I do is, all my music is ultimately in praise of God. He wanted to his music to bring the experience of God's infinite being into people's lives. That's why he wrote music. And it's why we love to walk in nature. Because nature has the same power that a work of art has. It has the same power to sometimes we're walking in the mountains, or we look out at a landscape and we say, it was breathtakingly beautiful. What does it mean, breathtakingly beautiful? It means it took our breath away. Breath, anima, it's very close to mind. So if the breath stops, the mind stops. In fact, there are yogic practices where the retention of the breath is undertaken in order to stop the mind. So this breath, when we say breathtakingly beautiful, we mean the power of the landscape. It halted our breath. That is, it halted our mind. It brought the mind, the finite mind, to an end. And in that ending of the mind, consciousness shines briefly. And then when the mind returns, it attributes the beauty to the landscape. No, the beauty is never the property of the landscape. Beauty is always a property of infinite consciousness. It is only God that is the good, the beautiful, and the true.
It's really helpful.
It's why you, is it not why you sing your songs? Isn't it, what is it about those songs that you sing and those musicians that you were telling us about yesterday that you admire? Do they not bring about this same experience in you?
Yes.
Do they not somehow take you to this placeless place? And that when you're singing, are you not trying to communicate the same experience to other people? And indeed you do.